Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, sorry about that. Basically what I was talking about was I was saying you guys can see this security and priority tip suggestions, and so I was musing on the idea of adding one for clarity, because people often ask multiple questions, and among those questions they expect like a clear yes or no, and I say to them, hey, I can do that with a pendulum, give you clear yes or no answers. Tarot might give you clear yes or no answers, tarot might not give you, but they always opt for tarot and then get angsty and demand clarity afterwards. So yeah, what do you guys think? Should I add another suggestion onto that list for clarity, yes or no clarity? Welcome, Sindel, welcome back. Good to see you again. Would like to know if I'm moving back home, if moving back home is good for my relationship with B. I wonder, is home where B is, or is home separate to where B is? It doesn't really matter. I don't need to understand the question to give you an answer from the tarot. Which was, yeah, last night I experienced that to its max. Someone sent me this long fucking essay from their journal, and it made zero sense whatsoever. But I gave a response, and it was an intuitive, channeled message that I gave back. And it resonated with the person who spoke, and they didn't even realize that I had been unable to make sense of what they had said. Home to your parents, okay. Well, you will be the first reading of the day. Your question is the first question that's in the chat. We have some other viewers, but yours is the first question, and that's because I'm amazing. Thank you so much for that recognition. Sometimes I really don't feel all that amazing. Sometimes I feel really inadequate, like I sigh and I say, oh, I do my best, but it doesn't ever seem to be enough. But I guess that's like an insatiability within myself, like what is enough? And I think about it, and nothing would ever be enough. I could speak to the mountains and ask them to move, and they would move, and it still wouldn't be enough. Like, where's enough for me, Welcome, Victoria, good to see you. Thanks for joining our stream. The way the queue works is you ask your question to be added, and yeah, I answer the questions as they appear in the chat. First come, first serve basis. Readings are free for the first 2 hours. Is moving back in with the parents a good move for Sindel and her relationship with the one referred to as B? Thank you for your question, Victoria. You are in the queue. You'll be next up. You're the second reading I'll be giving away for the day. So Sindel, you got a 3 of Cups in the position of your past. So that's like becoming aware of your emotional state of being. It's like having light shown on yourself and identifying and recognizing your emotional being and how you've been interacting with it and how it's been influenced and where your triggers come from, etc. It's just about becoming aware. It's about awareness, the enlightenment, awareness, revelation, that kind of energy, particularly regarding emotions. So the last couple of weeks, or the last week or so, whatever has led you to ask this question or contemplate this idea of moving home away from B, it is because you have become aware of your emotional self. You've become aware of how you've been feeling within the relationship, how you've been impacting his emotional being for positive and negative, recognizing how you trigger him with certain things you do and say, and vice versa, recognizing how he's been triggering you, and like trying to identify and reflect on the root of those triggers and why you feel the things you feel, positive and negative. And so that's what has brought you to this conclusion that going home might be a good idea. In the present, we've got a number 17 of the trumps. So this card is saying to you decision making, prioritizing. So this card just wants to say to you what is important to you right now, like what is most important to you within this relationship. What is the outcome you're hoping to accomplish by moving home for a while? And yeah, create the outcome, see it in your mind. What is the outcome I'm looking for? And then say, okay, what is the most important about this? And I can schedule tasks according to priority and say, okay, moving out is highest priority or not, depending on what your outcome actually looks like. Basically, this card wants you to identify your outcome, what you want to accomplish, and then make your decision based on that. Make every decision thereafter based on that outcome. Also, not acting impulsively. So when you feel a trigger, and identifying if your course of action that you're contemplating is a result of a trigger, because if it is, then it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to act within that. Rather act in alignment with the outcome that you're trying to accomplish rather than what the emotion is inspiring, if that makes sense. Basically, choose your outcome and choose the direction that you're going, and set the tasks and your course of action according to priority of what's most important, what needs to happen, what's the most important aspect of this outcome that needs to manifest into your life. Future interval is Knight of Discs, so this card is basically saying that moving is a good idea. Yeah, that card is first telling you to be sure of your outcome and be sure that it's not emotional impulses, but this future card is saying that that's what's going to happen. Knight of Discs is a rebirth in your material physical space, and yeah, it usually talks about moving from one location to another, or switching career. The card is the right way around, saying it's a decision you've come to of your own accord and what you believe to be the right course of action in order to find the outcome that you're looking for. And if it was reversed, it would be saying something like you were forced into this or you reacted impulsively. But it's the right way around, saying that it's a decision you've come to because it's on your priority list. Healthy progress and change within the relationship is a priority, and you've identified that moving location, giving yourself a little bit of separation and space, is the best course of action in order to accomplish that goal. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you for pointing out the scammer, Gwendolyn. I will sort that out now. Rachel, you better type faster. You better copy and paste faster, because you're about to get banned. And you're most welcome, Sindel. Most welcome. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again. Look forward to seeing how things have changed and grown and progressed since today. You got a cool profile picture, Rachel. It's really unfortunate that you didn't DM me and ask for advice on how you can expand your reach and improve your business, rather than spamming my chat with your typical bot spamming fucking scamming bullshit. Cool. Welcome back, Red Rose, Raphael. Nice to see you again. Thank you for joining me again today. You are in the queue with your question. Thank you. Check in my chat to see who was the next question. Who had the next question? Victoria Carey. Victoria Carey asking, is my partner the right man? Awesome. And then after Victoria is Jacqueline J. And good morning, good afternoon, Sharita. Thank you for joining me again. Your question added to the queue. Thank you. I did catch your question. Thank you. Victoria is up next. Something about a certain individual being the right man. Let me just confirm that. Is my partner the right man? Cool. Red Rose, you don't have to really ask to donate to skip the queue. The priority, the priority tips are $5, and that'll prioritize you. That'll put you next in line. So don't hesitate. Is Victoria's current partner the right man for her? So, Victoria, your past interval is Knight of Cups. So this card is saying that recently you've both had a rebirth in your emotional selves. Like when this relationship started out, when you guys got together and started dating or getting intimate, you had a certain understanding of your emotional being and how to interact with it. But there were aspects of it that didn't serve you and that didn't serve the relationship on both ends, like certain impulsive behaviors that would stem out of triggers, like emotional triggers, like being reminded of a trauma from past relationships by something that your partner says or does, and then acting impulsively or spitefully or shamefully as a result of that trigger. So quite recently, like 2021, the end of 2021 and the beginning of this year, you guys have been reborn in your emotional being. All of those, that way of interacting with your emotions in the past, you realized it wasn't serving the relationship and decided to destroy it. Perhaps you have come to this point where you're asking me, is he the right man? Because you've experienced this emotional rebirth and he is not. It's like he's still justifying impulsive behaviors based on his emotional triggers when you have gone through the rebirth. But even if that is the case, he has become aware of it, and that rebirth is inevitable. It's something that's coming to a close now. So in the present moment, you're probably seeing some differences. Like right now, if you observe him based on how he was last week, you probably see there's been some shifts and some changes in the way he copes and interacts with his emotions. Whether like perhaps being more vulnerable and more honest, or less honest and less vulnerable, I don't know. But yeah, you'll definitely be seeing some changes if you have a look. In the present moment, we've got number 14 of the trumps. So that is called art. It is about co-creation, working together. This card is saying that he is the right partner for you. He's the right man for you. What you guys are doing in the present is working together. You're co-creating positively. You're allowing your inspiration to support his process, and he's allowing his inspiration to support your process. And you've arrived in this place of co-creation and co-support. It's like two pillars leaning against each other. That's the kind of energy that this card talks about. It's like strength as a collective. And the state of healthy co-creative frequencies that you've just arrived in is a result of letting go of old patterns in your emotional being, letting go of the need to respond to negative emotions when they come up, especially when they're triggered by the other partner in the relationship. So with this card in mind, the Knight of Cups is saying that you definitely did, both of you definitely went through a rebirth. The way that you interacted with your emotions when you began in this relationship versus the way that you interact with them now is dramatically healthier, and it has resulted in this ability to support one another and be strong and enduring as a result of that support. When he faces blockages or resistances, then he applies his creative potential to overcome those issues, and you assist him with that. He takes inspiration and he takes advice and follows your example. He looks at how you apply creativity and ingenuity, and that assists him in overcoming his resistances, and vice versa. When you're faced with those resistances in your own life and your own purpose, you do the same thing. You apply creativity to overcome it, and you've learned, and you allow his creative process and the things he does and suggests, and you just learn from his example, and you allow that to be applied to your structure and the way you're about to overcome your resistances. So that's really healthy. It's saying that this partnership is healthy, and he is kind of the right man. A future interval is Princess of Cups. So your Princess of Cups talks again about co-creation, but this one has a little bit more to say. It's saying that what's about to open up for you is, you guys are moving forward into like a shelled position. Both of you collectively shrinking into your shell. You're about to put on this hardened exterior, keeping your emotional vulnerabilities inside, not letting them be seen, and you're doing this because you don't want to sabotage the support structure that you built. You're going to be prioritizing the mission that you're accomplishing, this purpose, this goal that you're reaching for, whatever it might be, that you guys are working together to create. You're going to be prioritizing that, and the card is saying that you might be inclined to pull back and be less open about what you're feeling and what's going on in your emotional being. Something that's going to happen for both of you, and it's something that might happen unconsciously. So the card is showing you that so that you can be aware of it, and make a deliberate effort to communicate, rather than just succumbing to the flow of the universe, deciding the flow of the universe for yourselves. It wants to suggest that when it happens, when you notice that he is retracting and he's keeping his emotions to himself, and he's got like this hardened exterior, to approach him and communicate how you're feeling, to just observe yourself and see where and how you've been doing the same, and then going to him and being vulnerable and open about it, so that it's like an example, so he can see, oh, she's being vulnerable, let me also be vulnerable, so you guys can overcome that, and you can work together to strengthen your emotional support structure as well as your physical and creative support structures. And that concludes your reading. So amazing. Thank you so much, my love. You can do it from the desktop. Just open Facebook and you can do it from there. Thank you so much for moderating for me. Aziza Azura, my beloved wife and partner and lover, supporting me and assisting me with the scammers. Thank you so much for pointing them out, Gwendolyn. I don't always see them from this end. Sometimes they're undercover and you can only see them in Facebook directly. You're most welcome, Victoria. So I'm checking my inbox now to see if Rafia has sent a priority reading, because that will skip the queue for Rafia. Nope, no priority for Rafia. Okay. Moving on. Thank you, Jacqueline, for reporting them. That is, if everyone could report them, there'd be less of them on the internet. If we all just reported them and blocked them simultaneously, we would, there'd be less of them. But it's very seldom that I can have a stream without these guys. Every time that the video feed gets shared on Facebook, then they jump on it. It's like if no one is working towards their goals, they stagnate as well, because they're not prepared to work towards their own goals. They'll rather sabotage someone else in order to remove themselves from stagnation. It's the most hilarious thing to witness, to be honest, and pathetic thing. But anyway, they must not do them. Thank you so much.
All I have to do is block them, right?
Right. Okay. Thanks. But you gotta block them from my account, eh?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thank you so much. So next in my queue is Jacqueline. Jacqueline is the next one in the queue. How does Feb look for me? For a moment my brain was like, whoa, short circuit. I thought Feb was an individual, was a person. But yeah, I get what you're saying now. How does Jacqueline's February 2022 look, and what's on the table for her? So past interval is number 8 of the trumps. It's called adjustment. This card is telling me that 2021 so far, your January 2021, has been about adjustments, shifts and changes to your lifestyle and habits and your overall being and who you are and how you perceive yourself. Shifts in all of these things happening, and this being brought on by you basically weren't given a choice. These shifts were placed on you. It was like the universe didn't give you much of a choice. You were working towards your goals and your objectives, and suddenly you realized, oh snap, if these things don't change, I'm not going to make it. Certain aspects of the environment changing around you, maybe jobs, maybe relationships, things changing that gave you no choice except to start shifting within yourself in order to maintain your outcome. Choosing not to make the shifts would have meant sacrificing the outcome you'd been working so hard to see. And yeah, it's kind of like you identified who you'd have to become in order to see your outcome realized for yourself. So you started making those shifts. As painful and as difficult as it was, you had some attachments to the old ways of doing things and lifestyle and certain habits that didn't serve you. So letting go of them was a little bit difficult, but you've done it because your outcome was more important than your comfort, and that is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for being authentic and strong. In the present, we have the number 2 of the trumps. It's called the Priestess, and it's reversed. So this card is saying that there is potential and opportunity right in front of you. So you're asking, what does Feb look like for you? Well, there are opportunities in front of you to make February look however you want it to look. What do you want February to look like for you? What kind of progress do you want to see within your personal life, in your financial life, in your health and fitness, in your relationships? What do you want February to have hold for you? What do you expect from February? Because in your present right now, there are opportunities and there is potential that you could be grabbing a hold of that would make sure your February looks the way you want it to look. So that card is just saying to me that you are overlooking what you need to be grabbing a hold of right now. February isn't going to look, it doesn't have a set appearance, it doesn't have a set outcome. You have to choose that, and in your present you're busy overlooking the opportunities that you could be taking a hold of in order to see February manifest what you hope for it to manifest, what you want it to manifest. And yeah, turn that card around, observe what you want February to give you, and then look at the opportunities that are in your present and seize them and commit to them. And don't neglect them until you see their outcomes and their abundance realized. Your future interval is the 7 of Swords, so this is exactly what I just said, even though I only just turned it over. It's talking about making decisions regarding February's purpose. 7 is about decision making, priorities, commitment, and grace, like grace as in forgiveness, but also grace as in elegance, like moving with precision and elegance. So and Swords is about purpose and intuition. So using your intuition, identify what is the best way that you can accomplish your heart's desire, because when you're stepping within your desire, when you're stepping out to accomplish your desires, that is when you're existing within purpose. So identify what your heart wants to see within February, and then intuitively choose an opportunity or a pathway to get there, and then commit to it and move on it one step at a time with precision and with grace. You're most welcome. Thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to follow and like and subscribe. And everyone in the chat, you guys can really help me out by following, by liking, by sharing, by subscribing. You can also send donations if you're by the means. All of that is so much appreciated. Growth for the win, as within, so without. So, next in the queue is Gwendolyn Williams. Gwendolyn Williams is asking, will Patrick's job contract end in 2022 or 2023? And then I see we've got Farine, who has joined us on YouTube. Last time I joined, the queue was closed, but it's not closed today. Shane Walker, welcome. The queue is open, so please go ahead and ask your question to join. Farine, thank you for your question. What is coming for me in the next few months? Is there anything I need to take care of? Big Chewy Felson, welcome. So the way to join the queue, addressing Life of Lexi and Big Chewy Felson. To join the queue, you guys ask a question, and that automatically adds you to the queue. And there's plenty of time, but there is a queue. So if you'd like to skip that queue, a priority tip of $5 will skip the queue and put you next in line. Surabani Pradhan, welcome. Surabani, I'd like to point out that yesterday you left the stream, and so your reading got skipped, because when I called for you to confirm that you were still in the chat, you were not. So yeah. And then you came back at the end of the stream to complain that you didn't get a reading. So today, if you ask your question, please stay to get your reading. And then Jacqueline saying, thank you so much to honor my health and well-being. Yes. Wealth and prosperity to you within all aspects of your life. Welcome, Drain. You can most certainly ask a question, and your question seems to be, what is my person thinking of me and his current feelings? Thank you. Sarvani says, what changes are coming in my life in the next few months? Life of Lexi says, what do I need to hear right now? Jaya Power, welcome, says, what is Virat Capricorn's intentions for this relationship with me? Jaya seems to have changed the question, saying, will Virat reconcile and commit to me? Is he loyal? Just to let you know, guys, you only have to ask your question once. Red Rose says, hello, I'm here. Is it my turn soon? Let's have a look. Gwendolyn is next, and then Sharita, and then you. So, wait, is that right? Gwendolyn, Sharita, and then Rafia, Red Rose. Yeah, you're 2 readings away. Big Chewy Failson says, I'd like to know how to reconnect with my sister. Thank you guys, all of you, for your questions. Your questions add you to the queue. Gwendolyn on Facebook is up next for a reading, asking, will Patrick's job contract end in 22, the year 2022, or the year 2023? Also, guys, you can support me by following, by liking, by sharing. Yeah, all of those are invaluable. Liking, subscribing, following, and sharing this video feed. Thank you so much for your support. Is Patrick's contract ending in 2022 or in 2023? What advice do you have for them regarding this? If you'd like clarity, like yes or no clarity, then I can do that with a pendulum. The tarot might give that kind of clarity, but it's not very often that the tarot is that direct. Past interval is number 7. Number 7 of the trumps. It's called the Chariot. So this is about decisions and priorities and responsibilities. Grace, it's saying that the beginning of 2022 has looked like a period of decision making, having a look at what kind of outcome you guys want to see for this year, like saying, okay, what does the end of 2022 look like? What have we created by that point in time? So visualizing that outcome, what does our income look like at that point? What does our home space look like, etc. Once you have that outcome, you can find ways to get there, and you can prioritize tasks and activities and goals according to what is most important, what aspects of that future vision are most important in the manifestation, what needs to manifest first in order to support that vision further. Because if you've got all of these possibilities and you're not actually working towards any of them, none of them is going to manifest. So it's really important to identify one, and this card is saying that's what you guys have been doing. The end of 2021, beginning of 2022, that's what you were doing. And present interval is 6 of Swords. So this card is saying that you, Gwendolyn, as well as Patrick, you guys have been doing the best that you can. You've been applying your knowledge and your experiences and your resources to their maximum potential. Having an idea where you want to go, what your purpose is, because like I was talking about desire and outcomes. So once you've identified what your desire is and then you start taking action towards it, you have set purpose. When will is working towards desire, that is purpose. When they're working together, that is what we call purpose. So you guys have identified what your purpose is, you, him, and collectively what the purpose of the relationship is. And been applying yourselves to the maximum potential. And now, in the present moment, you are interacting with one another in order to overcome previous limitations. He's teaching you things, you're teaching him things, even if it's not like direct lessons or advice. You're learning from his example, and he is learning from your example. At the same time, you're both making new connections and learning and having experiences together and individually. And all of this is helping you get past the previous limitations, previous resistances and previous limitations that you had on your resources, experience, and knowledge. Basically evolving to do more than what you could before as a result of working together and interacting. It's quite cool. Future interval is number 13 of the trumps. It is the Death card. So this is saying to me that in the near future, his career is going to come to an end. His job contract is coming to an end very soon. When I see this in the position of the future, it's what's about to open up. So you're asking, is it going to end in 2022 or 2023? It's going to end like in the next month, 2 months, maybe not even that far away. But this Death card is talking about a rebirth in your entire reality and the entire way that you do things. And it's what's about to open up. And usually when that kind of rebirth happens, it's either the end of a relationship, physical injury, end of a career, etc. So usually those kind of things. Sharita, I believe you're next in line. So I just completed Gwendolyn's reading. Thank you very much, Gwendolyn. Please follow. Everybody in the chat, please follow. Please like. Please share. Please subscribe. You can check out all the platforms that I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. I also have a Discord channel, and all of these links are in the description. Donations are also very much appreciated, but that is optional. Thank you guys. Thank you, Gwendolyn. I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon. Miss Sharita asks, what is my child's father's intentions? Yes, it is a good thing you came back. What is the baby daddy up to this time? What's he scheming? Yeah. So past interval is number 14 of the trumps reverse. So this tells me that what he had been intending the last time we checked out his intentions, like recently, whatever he was trying to do, whatever he was scheming and working towards, didn't work out for him. He was trying to come up with creative solutions to his wicked plans, but they fell through. He wasn't able to apply them. He wasn't able to convince people. His plan was dependent on others falling for him, falling for his manipulative tactics, and when those people didn't, his plans fell flat. Don't know if that was you that he needed to manipulate, or if that was someone else who could influence you. The point is, he had a plan that depended on someone else supporting him, and that person didn't support him in his plan, and so it fell flat. In the present, we've got number 19 of the trumps. So right now, this is a cool card. Right now, his intentions are to just fill his own cup and focus on his own reality. Try and become the source of energy within his own space and his own reality, his own universe. Like the sun is a source of energy for the solar system and gives our planet its potential to bring forth abundance. So likewise, what he's focusing on now in the present is to secure his life and become the source of energy in his own life, so that his environment and his projects and his career, or whatever it is that he's doing, can receive the energy and input that it needs in order to bring forth abundance that he can reap. And that's a cool thing. It's a good shift, moving from manipulative schemes to focusing on self-development. That's a good shift. Future interval. Oh dear. Future interval is the 9 of discs reversed. So what's about to open up for him is loss. Bad investments, bad returns on investments of time and energy, and then refusing to take responsibility for his own shortcomings within that failure. So right now he's trying to shift his life and become the source in his life, and this 9 of discs is saying that what's about to open up is things like procrastination, negligence, lack of responsibility, things that cause whatever he is doing in the present to fall apart, and then self-reflection, looking back and asking himself, oh, why? Woe is me. Why has my plan failed? Why has my life not stabilized? It must be everybody's fault except mine. But that's what the tarot is saying. He is going to be unwilling to take responsibility for his own part in self-sabotaging his own efforts to secure himself. Do I think he will be a good father? I do, to be honest. I think that he's going to learn. Maybe not now. Maybe not even for the first year of your child's life, but he's going to learn. Thank you for joining us, Sharita. So currently his intentions are not negative towards you. He's trying to focus on himself, but that's going to fall on its face again, and he's going to blame you and everybody else for that. So just be mindful. Okay, Red Rose, Rafia, you are up next. How does Mr. Holloway, the teacher I work with, feel about me and how I work in his class? He will become accountable. He might not be accountable now, but he will. Having a child really changes a man. It really completely warps his universe, and feeling things in the heart that were never felt before, sensations and emotions that have never been there before. So those things, we continue to act within our lack of responsibility and accountability, if that's the kind of character we've been demonstrating. But when that spills over onto our child, we cannot forgive ourselves for that, and that creates an immediate shift. The very moment that our lack of responsibility affects our child, that is when it really collapses the tower. It's like a death card. A whole old way of living just dies. And yeah, from there onwards, positive change starts to happen. Welcome Nabeen, welcome VG, and everyone else who has joined the chat. To join the queue, you just ask a question. Please don't ask a question more than once. That would be spam. Nabeen, please stop spamming. Ask your question once, it's enough. Have patience. You're in the queue. Lack of patience will result in a ban, dude. Just relax. Red Rose, Rafia. On your behalf, how does Mr. Holloway feel about you and your efforts in the classroom? Last chance, Nabeen. Let's have a look. Farin, I don't think you're next, but I'm gonna check. Okay, you are, looks like. Yeah, so next in the queue is Rafia, also known as Red Rose. After that we have Farin. Welcome to the chat, Da. Will I be successful in my career? Thanks for your question. Your question adds you to the queue. Yeah, just a reminder, guys, you can help me out and support me by sharing this video, by liking it, by subscribing to my channels, by following me on Facebook or on Twitch or whatever. Yeah, just you can also help out by recommending me to your friends if you've appreciated my readings and you know someone who could benefit from them. To just like spread it with word of mouth. Also very useful and helpful. Thank you. Welcome Therapy on Twitch. VG, if you've asked a question, you are in the queue, and you did ask a question, so just have patience, we will get to you. Jacqueline says, I had seen a golden light drop down in front of our street light and fly into the sky. It was a small golden light. A few moments before that, my lights had been flickering on and off on their own. Ooh, I can feel buzzing up and down my spine once, hence why I went outside to record around my house and had caught on camera a small energy of golden light drop into the street and dispense back into the night sky. Can I have guidance, please? Please send me that video, please. I would fucking love to see that video. But Jacqueline, I do only give one free reading per person per stream, so if you'd like me to read on this one, you can schedule a private reading, or you can send a donation to add yourself to the queue again. $2 minimum. $5 will skip the queue, guys, just by the way, just putting that out there. And yeah, so I best get on with the reading. So Rafia, your past interval is the Ace of Swords. It's reversed, so it talks about miscommunicating purpose. Okay, so this, just give me a sec, I need to go onto Facebook and ban this mofo. This mofo named Nabeen. He is refusing to listen to me when I tell him to stop spamming the chat. Thanks for following me, Nabeen, but from now on you're not going to be seeing anything that goes onto my profile. I did warn you. Okay. back to Rafia's reading. Miscommunication in purpose. Swords is about purpose and intuition, and the Ace is about communication. So this is what your teacher has seen in you. You might have thought you had him duped, but recently, like since you started this class, it's a past card, so it's what's happened already, things that have already come to a close. You have been less than honest about your purpose for being in that class. You have had intuitive nudges and understandings, and you do well, and then you miscommunicate the truth about how you discovered that answer or how you came to that conclusion, and that's not been very good for your image. So you have been impressive. You have been impressive enough to be asked questions, to be asked to clarify on your methods or your intuition or your nudges or your purpose or intentions, but then not being honest or withholding information when requested, and that has been negative for your image. Present interval is number 3 of cups reversed. So in the present moment, your teacher has been observing your emotional being, how you interact with your emotional self, and also that has not been in the favor of your image. He's noticed some childishness in your emotional being, like you will get upset or depressed, or you'll just very suddenly go whoop and become miserable over something really small or something really simple. And while that's not necessarily, if you're not making it anyone's problem, it's not necessarily wrong, but it's not good for your image. It's not good for the way that he perceives you. So yeah, he's just been noticing that you suddenly get triggered by something that gets said or something that gets asked of you, and suddenly you'll go from good mood to really miserable dark rain cloud, and it's not good for your image or the way you're being perceived. Future interval is the 8 of Swords, also reversed. This is what's about to open up for you, and it's something that your teacher has planned. Mr. Holloway is planning to create an adjustment in your position and your purpose within the school environment and class environment. So currently, like you said, you're only a volunteer, and it's just work experience. So he is planning to make some changes to that, to change your role within the classroom space and within the school space. And this might not be something that you have been anticipating. It might not be something that you actually want, but that is what he's planning to adjust your purpose. So and he's doing this in order to allow you to evolve in the person that you are. He's looking at what you're currently doing and what your current, like here we saw miscommunicating purpose, and then you say to me you're only a volunteer. Yeah, I'm sure that you have a little bit of a bigger purpose than that underneath the surface, and he knows that too. So he wants to give you something that will force you to shift into the person that you need to be, in order to actually accomplish the purpose that you came there to accomplish. And that's what's about to open up. So that concludes your reading. Thank you for joining, and yeah, thank you for your support yesterday and today. So next up is Fareen Siddiqui on YouTube. What is coming for me in the next few months? Is there anything I need to take care of? And welcome to the chat, Rashmia. It's good to see you again. Asking, do I have a rebirth? And thank you for your question. Your question adds you to the queue automatically. Please confirm that you are still here, Fareen. Yes, you're here. Thank you so much. What is on the table for Farin in the next few months? Sun is getting real low, starting to shine in, and when that starts to happen, it really starts getting hot in this little room. Okay, Farin, your past interval is the Ace of Wands. So Wands is about passion, intention, desire, and Ace is about communication, as well as various tools of communication, like a cell phone where you text, pen and paper where you write, instruments. There are so many different tools of communication, but anyway, that is saying that since this year began, you have identified what you want. You've been like, okay, 2022, I want to accomplish certain things in 2022. I'm passionate about these things. I want to see them realized. I have this desire for them. I'm going to set intentions for it. And then you communicated those intentions and those passions and those desires. You communicated it with people around you, and that was healthy. It opened up opportunities for other people to support you. If you keep your intentions to yourself, then no one knows about it, and the people who might have been by the means to support you wouldn't know that that's what you're doing, wouldn't know that you're in need of support. So that communication is great. It's something that's coming to a close, but just realize that every time that you opened your mouth to communicate, you made those desires that you were working towards, those intentions, you made them that much closer to your physical reality. When you have thoughts and you want to make them real, the very first thing you do, you give them their very first form, which is by speaking them aloud as sound waves, or by writing it down as pictures, little symbols in the form of sentences. So you gave your intentions and your passions and your desires their very first physical form. So every time that you open your mouth to speak about your passions and intentions, about the outcome you're looking to manifest, you were bringing it that much closer into reality. It was like an investment. Present interval is the Queen of Swords reversed. So what this card is telling me is that this purpose that you've set, okay, we talked about desire. So when you apply a will to accomplish your desire, that is what we call purpose. And the Swords is all about purpose, and the Queen energy is again about desires. So what this card is telling me is that the outcome you're trying to manifest feels bigger than you. In the present moment, you feel like what you're trying to accomplish, what you've set your intentions towards, and what you're passionate about is more than what you can actually accomplish. You feel a little bit overwhelmed by it. You feel hopeless, like it can never be, because it's bigger than, it's fantasy. It's not actually reality. But that card wants me to tell you that it is not fantasy. If you can imagine it, if you can visualize it, you can make it happen. If you can visualize the outcome, and if you can visualize a method to accomplish that outcome, it can be real. It can manifest. So this card wants to say to you, instead of being overwhelmed by the intensity and the magnitude of your outcome and your desire, instead be inspired by it. So like, because I want this, I will have it. No matter what is required of me, I will have it. I will overcome obstacles. I will apply creative solutions. I will change into the person that I need to be in order to see that realized. Instead of allowing it to overwhelm and make you feel hopeless, allow it to inspire you. Let it be both the gateway and the destination. Future interval. 8 of Swords. Okay, so more than in telling you to be inspired by your desire, this present card is saying that what you desire from the next few months is what you will have in the next few months. Keep saying 3. 3 must be significant in the next 3 months. You get to decide. Life doesn't decide for you what your coming few months look like. You decide that. You choose that up here. You communicate it. You reach for the opportunities that can make it real. You allow your desire to inspire you. You become aware of who you need to be in order to see that realized. You set routine and structure, and you fulfill it. You commit to it day after day. You apply your resources to their maximum potential. You network and connect with people, and you learn from their examples so you can overcome your limitations. And then you reflect on your methods and see if it's been working, and if not, you apply a new method. And then 8, and this is what you're about to step into, 8 of Swords, and this is adjustments. Making adjustments to who you are, making adjustments, cutting out old habits that don't serve the purpose you've set for yourself. Bringing an end to old cycles. If there's been things like lack of commitment, there's been things like lack of inspiration, unhealthy habits, expensive habits that make it difficult to support your dreams, lifestyle patterns that include things like laziness and procrastination, anything from old cycles that will not serve your outcome, cutting them off and letting them die. Coming to this realization that that's necessary of your own accord, not waiting for the universe to smack that sense into you, realizing it of your own accord and acknowledging that those things need to change and making the conscious decision to begin changing them. They don't have to happen immediately. The change won't happen immediately, but each month you can look back and you'll see how much you've grown and how much closer to your authentic self you've become. You won't notice it week to week, but every month you'll be able to see how much you've grown over the last month. And that's what's about to open up for you, that period of acknowledgement of who you need to become and what you need to let go of in order to see your dreams and your desires for the next few months become a reality. And yeah, that concludes your reading. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe, please like, please share. Much appreciated. Same to everyone else in my chat, all 11 viewers. Please guys, please support me by liking my video, by sharing it, by following me, whatever platform you're on. Just give me that support. Hit that follow button, hit that share button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications, because I do this multiple times a week. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you're by the means and you really want to see me grow and the stream get more advanced and more dope, then you can also send a donation if you're by the means. Thank you so much. You're most welcome, Farin. Most welcome. Checking my chat to see who is up next. Shane Walker wants to know, what does God think of you? Yikes. Well, I can tell you what God thinks of you. God thinks you're beautiful. God thinks you're magnificent. God looks at you and sees himself. God looks at you and your struggles and your pain and the decisions you make that lead to disaster in your life. He looks at that and he feels nothing but compassion for you and sorrow, and his heart aches for your suffering. And all he wants to do is wipe your tears away, and you need to open your arms and allow him and say, yes, please help me out. I acknowledge that I'm suffering here and I'm failing with relying on my own logic is failing me. Guide me through intuition. Guide me with the Spirit. Let the Spirit break out. So God feels nothing but compassion and love for you. God sees you as beautiful and perfect exactly as you are. And God feels pain when you feel pain. He mourns with you when you are in dire states. God is right there in dire states. And you know, the only thing that separates you from God is yourself, is your own limitations, your own self-limitations, your own shame. God doesn't care about those things. God wants to remove those things from you. So yeah, that's what God thinks about you, Shane. And yeah, open your arms, let him in. Realize that God is right there and never went anywhere. And yeah, you are the only one who can separate you from God. You can't even. All you do is put blinkers over your eyes so you don't see him. Feeling like you're not worthy because you've done things that you think are shameful, things that you're guilty of, thinking that God hates you. That's not the case. God sees you feeling all of those things and he mourns. He mourns for your pain and your suffering. What kind of reading would you like? Yeah, it might not look like you just got a reading, but you did. You just got a channeled message from the universe, buddy. But hey, I'm here to give away tarot readings, aren't I? So, do you want me to ask the tarot that question? You're gonna get a very similar answer, but okay. Rashmia, you are in the queue. Please have patience. I will get to your question when it appears in my chat. I have a queue, you know. If you want to skip that queue, then please feel free to make a donation of $5 and you will skip the queue. Otherwise, you must have patience. Why did you see an alien spaceship a few years ago? Because alien spaceships are real, dude. Because aliens exist. But I will ask the tarot that question. I'm really curious what it looked like, Shane, because I've seen some really weird ass UFOs, and they didn't look like spaceships to me. They kind of looked like a phoenix. The UFOs that I've seen kind of look like a phoenix. That's one, and the other one that I've seen is like a star, but it dances and moves around like on the horizon, just like plays around. Weirdest fucking shit. What relevance is Shane's UFO sighting? What relevance does it have to his life and circumstances? It looked like the one from the Alien movie with Tom Cruise. I don't think I know that movie, but okay. I'll look it up later. Two of Cups reversed. Lack of self-love, lack of filling one's own self, feeling emotionally empty. That's what you were feeling in the past when it came to when the time was leading up to your sighting. You were in a place of real emotional destitution. There was the potential for you to be filling your own emotional cup, but you were looking for it from an outside source and you weren't getting it, and so you stayed dry and empty. You didn't reach for that potential to fill yourself. You didn't acknowledge that you had the potential to fill yourself, and that you could be focusing on yourself and developing yourself and didn't have to rely on anyone or anything to fill your emotional cup. That's what led, that was how you were feeling leading up to that sighting. Present interval. So when you got to that point, this is the Three of Wands, and this is awareness of your desires and your intentions, becoming aware of what it is that you want from life and what kind of desire was actually carved into your heart, and what it is that you want and what intentions you're going to set to make that desire manifest, what you're really passionate about. So in that moment of that sighting, the relevance that it had was whether or not it was a coincidence, but coincidence is a lie, you know. But anyway, the relevance that it had on your life is that it made you aware of what you were passionate about. It brought you into awareness of what you desired from this life, why you chose to incarnate on earth in the first place. It made you aware of what intentions you actually had towards yourself and the environment, and how you were going to start taking action towards seeing your desires made present in your life. So that's what inspired you. That's what happened as a result of your sighting. It brought about all of the self-awareness regarding your actual purpose. And it's not directly linked. It's not like the alien spaceship revealed itself to you in order to create that effect in you, but that is the effect that it was created in you when you saw this thing, this unidentified flying object. Future interval is the Three of Swords reversed. So what opened up for you thereafter was a little bit of hopelessness, feeling overwhelmed by the task that was in front of you, feeling like trying to communicate to people about what you've become aware of, and that this shift in your persona and the shift in your intentions and your purpose has been inspired by a UFO sighting. Then people would naturally laugh at that, and that would probably make a person feel a little bit disheartened, you know. If there was no one to witness it with you, then it's very difficult for anyone besides you to know that it was true, and maybe you even doubted yourself. But anyway, because of the resistance you experience when trying to communicate and express yourself, that created a lot of hopelessness, like your desire and your purpose, your will stepping out to accomplish your desire was more than what you could carry. It was fantasy, it was hopeless, it was never going to happen, it was too big for you to carry. But that card is saying it wants you to look back at that moment and realize that anything which you can visualize, if you can see the result, if you can visualize it in your mind, and you can visualize a way to move from your present moment into that outcome, then it can happen. And the only thing that prevents you from getting there is yourself. And that concludes your reading. So, I hope it gives you some clarity. I mean, if I can share my experience, like, I don't know what the relevance is. So the phoenix kind of thing that I saw, it was like a tongue of fire, like a candle flame, right? And it had like these arcs that came off of it in both directions, and it moved in a straight line through the atmosphere. It was not curved, it was not falling, it was not landing, it was not leaving, it was moving in a direct straight line, and it was moving incredibly fast. Like, I saw it and it was gone. And then when it came to those dancing lights on the horizon, that I see semi-regularly actually, and it's always in the southern, it's always south, it's always happening in the south, and I'm already on the most southern tip of Africa, so there's literally nothing but Antarctica between here and the south. So, and I've spoken to other people who have told me the same thing. I kept my mouth. I didn't tell them I've seen that too, but I've listened to other people talk about seeing these dancing lights in the south when they look over the sea. So I have no idea what the relevance is. I have no idea what it means. All I know is that there is shit going on that we know nothing about, that we as humans know fuck all about, and it's happening. Welcome, Shane. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that I'll be seeing you soon. And please feel free to reach out to me and connect, and we can chat about these strange experiences. I'd love to connect. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it all. So Dareen, you are next. Well done. Somehow you knew. Or maybe you knew because you saw Shane ask his question right before you asked yours. But anyway, Dareen says, can I ask what my person is thinking of me in his current feelings? Thank you. Letting everybody know, all of my viewers, all 9 viewers, that all of my social links are in my descriptions. So if you want to reach out to me or connect and chat in DMs, please don't hesitate. Please feel free. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and share and follow and and donate. All much appreciated. What is Darin's person thinking of her or him? And what are his current feelings? Before I turn those over, I'm going to check on my timer and check my notifications. Okay, almost an hour and 20 minutes in. Okay, so Darin, your past interval is number 14 of the trumps reversed. So this is saying that he has been struggling to work together with you. It has been a struggle for him. A struggle for him to learn from your example, learn from your positive example, learn from your negative example. It's been a very big struggle for him to watch you learn from him, to adapt and change according to his behaviors. Sharing his physical space with you, sharing physical spaces, sharing budgets, sharing income, making compromises, just the whole aspect of having to work with someone else, co-create and coexist with someone else has been a struggle for him. It's something that he's struggled with most of his life, in fact, working with others. He is very much accustomed to working alone and budgeting alone and doing everything alone, having only himself to blame for mistakes, having only himself to approve of purchases, approve of decisions. Having to communicate and rely on someone else to assist with that process has been a very difficult adjustment for him. But it is something that's coming to a close. He is learning, he is making progress, and he does want, the relationship is valuable to him, so he wants to make the changes that are necessary in order to support that relationship and become a healthier party within that relationship. Present interval is number 7 of the trumps. Number 7 of the trumps reversed. It's called the Chariot, and this is saying that in his present moment he is feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities. He's feeling like he needs to figure everything out right away, but that's not necessarily true. He also realizes that he needs to make some decisions about where he's going with life and where this relationship is going. Make some decisions regarding the outcome, and the way to get to that outcome. And it's overwhelming for him, and that overwhelm is bringing anxiety, and it leaves him stagnant. So instead of actually making decisions or taking action, he's just sitting there wallowing and burning up in his anxiety and overwhelm. And this card has some advice for him, namely, first of all, if you can visualize the outcome, it can become real. If you can visualize a way to get there, it can become real. So that starts out with acknowledging, I'm capable of accomplishing what I desire. I'm capable of manifesting this outcome. I can. And then, how do I get there? What is the means? What actions can I start taking? Identifying that, and then once you have identified that, you make the decision. Okay, I will step out on this road. I will commit. I can, and then I will. And then as soon as you take your first step on that road, it's I'm already there. I'm within purpose, and that outcome is secured. So, he needs to identify what it is he wants to create with his own life. He needs to identify what kind of outcome he sees for this relationship, what it looks like in the distant future. Are you there forever? Do you have children? Do you live in the same house? What does it look like? He needs to make all of those decisions. He needs to create that vision so that he can start taking action towards it. And then he needs to identify what is most important to him in his life currently and in regards to the relationship, so that he can prioritize his tasks. because it can still feel overwhelming. Even once you've chosen your outcome and your direction, it can still be overwhelming, and you can still feel like you've got so much that needs to be done and not enough time to do it. And so in that case, then you identify what's most important to you, and you work on your tasks. You set your tasks and your goals according to that priority, and according to a priority of what's most important, and then you tick them off in that order. So yeah, that's present interval. Future interval is number 9 of the trumps reversed. This is not the most encouraging card. It's called the Hermit. The Hermit card is about self-reflection. So what's about to open up for him is he's about to start reflecting on the mistakes that he's made in past relationships and in this present relationship since it began. He's going to look at the places that he made breakthroughs, that he was supportive and constructive in past relationships and in the present relationship. And there is a risk, there's a chance that he's not going to take responsibility for himself, that he's going to put the accountability on external variables, saying, oh, because of COVID I made those mistakes, because that person triggered me I spoke resentfully, because finding reasons to justify negative actions and finding reasons to disclaim positive actions, positive breakthroughs. Not recognizing one's success and not acknowledging one's failures is very detrimental to your future, because if you can't take responsibility for your mistakes, you can't avoid repeating them, and if you can't acknowledge your successes and your breakthroughs and your positivity, you can't reapply those methods for success in the future. So what's opening up for him is his self-reflection, and this card is offering a warning to him. It's unfortunate that he isn't here to receive it, but that is to remember to be accountable to himself, to take responsibility for his mistakes, not justify them, to take responsibility for his success and not minimalize it. And that concludes his reading and your reading. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe, please like. If you felt like you got some value out of the spread, please send a donation to return that value. And you're also welcome to check my other platforms out. You can reach out to me privately. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon. Welcome, Sarah K. That name is very familiar, but I feel like it's been a while since I saw you last. Welcome back. To join the queue, you go ahead and ask a question, although the queue is quite busy at this point. There's quite a few requests. So you're most welcome, Darine. Most welcome. And thank you. Jaya Power. Will Virat reconcile and commit to me? Is he loyal with me? So Jaya Power, are you here? Because your reading is up next. Welcome, Priya. I didn't see your message until now. If you're still here, welcome. How are you doing? Hope you're well. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. So Jaya Power is not here. Oh wait, there you are. Just in time. You're up next. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Is it like Jaya Power? I don't know. Is Virat loyal to Jaya? Does he seek commitment and reconciliation? Past interval is 0 of the trumps. It's called the Fool. and it's reversed. So this card basically says to me that he took a leap of faith. He had certain feelings and certain inspirations, and he felt like he couldn't reach for those things. He couldn't reach for that shift or that change or that quantum evolution that he was seeking, that he couldn't reach for it while being in this relationship. So he took a leap of faith, believing that separation would bring about the changes that he needed. But the card is reversed, saying that it wasn't necessary to leave, that he could have made his quantum leap and his evolution by staying in the relationship. And it also is suggesting that the pathway he thought was right for him might not necessarily be right for him, but that is something he has to learn of his own accord, and that is what he's learning right now. He's learning that this quantum leap was not in his favor. He leapt out of a relationship that was actually good for him, and that he didn't need to do that he could have had his evolution within the relationship, realizing also that the pathway he thought was right for him is not necessarily right for him, and that he might have had better luck finding abundance and prosperity elsewhere in life. Present interval, Prince of Cups. So this card is saying that he has some blockages and some resistances to facing certain challenges, emotional challenges, like strong feelings, strong positive feelings, strong negative feelings that he doesn't want to face. He feels them come up and he suppresses them. He says, no, not now, I'm not going to deal with that, not going to look for that route. There's too much on my plate right now. I'm going to put that on the shelf and face it some other time. Not ready yet. But in the present moment now, where he is right now and what he's going through now, is he's allowing those things to express themselves. He's realized that he's grown enough and that he's experienced enough and he has learned enough over the last couple months or weeks or whatever it's been since he left. He's learned enough and grown enough that now he is ready to face those emotional challenges, those difficult emotions that he didn't want to face before. He can face them now. He's realizing that he's strong enough and he's grown enough to face them. So in the present moment, he's allowing those difficult feelings. Some of those things are resentments towards you. Some of those things are resentments towards himself for leaving. Some of those things are fear that he's not going to be able to get back together with you, etc. And he is allowing them to express themselves and looking at their root and facing them, because if you keep suppressing emotions, whether they're positive or negative, it results in some nasty side effects that really start to take their toll on your daily life. You might not have to experience the pain of the emotion, but then you have other things like chronic depression starts to develop. All kinds of strange things start to develop into your life that impede your progress. So facing them, allowing them to be expressed, whether they are painful or not, is important to laying them to rest and finding peace within yourself and getting rid of those side effects that start to build up as a result of suppression. So that's what he's doing now, expressing himself through creative action, writing poetry perhaps, writing in a journal, whatever he's doing, he's expressing what he feels, even if it's just to himself and within his own creative process. Future interval is Prince of Discs. So that's again facing challenges that in the past he wasn't prepared to face, didn't feel ready to face, but this time we're talking about finances, health, fitness and security and sex and all of those physical things to do with the physical reality. So yeah, developing his career and his finances, developing his home space and his security and his ability to secure somebody else, like you for instance. He felt like those responsibilities were more than he could face in the past. But now, as he's going through this emotional expression in the present, it is opening up the possibility for him to face those challenges in his physical environment as well. That's what's about to open up for him. As he reaches the resolution of this emotional experience that he's going through, he's going to then apply that same dexterity, that same endurance, and that same grace to his physical environment and start securing his home space and start making it possible to secure you and someone else and possibly a child, and establishing healthy sexual boundaries with himself, setting a routine for his health and his diet, all of those things, securing his finances. That's all the challenges regarding those aspects of his reality that he's been neglecting. he is now, well, as a result of what he's doing in the present, the self-work he's doing in the present is giving him the strength and the grace that he needs in order to go forward and do the same for his physical environment. And that concludes your reading. Yeah. Thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. And if you felt you got some value here, please send some value back in the form of a donation. Much appreciated. Welcome, Emma. It's nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining my stream. To join the queue, you just ask a question, although the queue is quite full. So when this timer reaches 0, my free readings end. But a $2 donation will secure you a spot even after the queue closes. A $5 donation will skip the queue entirely. All of my social links and my donation link, it's all there in the description. Thank you so much. Next in the queue is Life of Felix. Life of Felix, are you still here? Life of Felix on Twitch, asking what do I need to hear right now? Welcome, Marisha. Manisha Sharma, it's good to see you. Manisha, please do not spam the chat. You can ask a question once, that's enough. Welcome, Dipanshi. Thank you for your question. Your question adds you to the queue, but as I was explaining just a few moments ago, this queue here, this timer, when it reaches 0, my free readings are done, the queue closes, and there are quite a few requests in the queue, so if you want to secure yourself a spot, that's a $2 donation. A security donation will ensure that you get a reading even if the queue closes, and a priority donation of $5 will skip the queue entirely. Life of Felix has not responded, so moving on. Shrabani Pradhan, are you still here? Because you're up next for a reading. Let me know. I'm going to give you a few moments to confirm. Thank you for your recognition, Emma. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, even though you haven't gotten a reading yet. Jaya Power says, does he have a child? So Jaya, I give away one free reading per person per stream. If you'd like to ask a second question, you will need to send a donation to add yourself to the queue for a second time. Alright, Srabani seems to have left the chat. Moving on once again. Big Chewy Failson. Big Chewy Failson on Twitch wants to know how to reconnect with his sister. So Big Chewy Failson, if you are still here, please let me know. You're up next for a reading. This tends to happen where people join the queue and then they leave, so that means that it's more likely that you guys who have just joined will get a reading, although the timer is low. Okay, Big Chewy Failson is still here. Thanks for your patience, thanks for sticking around. Welcome, Lady Dilja. So the queue doesn't work quite the same way as it does in other Twitch streams. To join my queue, you just ask a question, and that question automatically adds you to the queue. I answer those questions as they appear in the chat, first come, first serve. When this timer reaches 0, my free readings queue is done, and I don't give away any more free readings after that. If you would like to secure your spot to make sure you get a reading even after that queue closes, that's $2. To skip the queue entirely, that is a $5 donation. And to answer Jacqueline, how often do I go live? I do this on a Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time. That's around about 2:30 starting then, and I stick around as long as people are tipping me. So I give away my 2 hours of free readings, and then I just go on giving readings, but it becomes gratuity based. Manisha Sharma, if you keep spamming the chat, I will block you, so don't do it. Just don't do it. Have patience. I Rise, if you'd like to join the queue, just ask your question and that'll add you to the queue. Last chance, Sharma. Manisha Sharma, I'm giving you one last chance to stop spamming before I block you. Welcome, Sahu. You can be added by asking a question, as you already know. Just be mindful that we're getting close to the end of the 2-hour free readings queue. Alright, so what advice does the universe have for Big Cheery Failson on how to reconnect with his sister? Past, present, and future intervals. So, past interval is number 14 of the Trumps reversed. This talks about having some struggles and some resistances when working with others. So that's something that your family seems to have an issue with. Not necessarily you or your sister, but just both of you struggle to work together, and that's the reason that you struggle with the connection. That's why you have had to come here asking for advice on how to on how you can actually do that. Co-creation, working together, finding some way to allow your creative process to support her in whatever it is she's trying to accomplish with her life, and allowing her example and her creative process to support yours as well. That's ideal. That's how you work with someone else. Compromising for them, taking their wants and desires into consideration and adjusting your process so that it incorporates their outcome as well as your own. And that's something that you guys struggle with. That kind of flexibility is something that is stuck in your family bloodline, and is something you both have been struggling with. But turning that around and working on that within yourself, that will help you reconnect. That's the first piece of advice that the tarot has for you today. That's past interval, so that period is coming to a close. It is something you've already been working on. In the present, we've got number 6 of the Trumps, which is the Lovers card, and this is your present card. This is talking about overcoming limitations by interacting with people, interacting with someone, forming a deep, intimate, close relationship with someone, and learning from their example and being inspired by them. Getting access to new resources, new knowledge, and experiencing new things alongside this person, allowing you to transcend beyond limitations which you had before. So in the present moment, you have this connection. It might not be with your sister, but you have it with someone. You have a deep, intimate, wholesome, healthy relationship with someone who is doing the best that they can with their resources and their knowledge. And the same applies to you. You've been doing the best that you can with your resources and your knowledge. And so that is why this relationship is so evolutionary and revolutionary for you guys, because you've already been applying yourself to the maximum. So this relationship allowed you to acknowledge and overcome your limitations. So take some inspiration from this relationship. Have a look at this other person, this person that you have this intimate connection with. I don't know who it is. Don't know if it's a partner. Don't know if it's a friend. But it's just a deep, strong connection with someone who resonates with your energy, someone who's been doing the best that they can regarding their finances, health, fitness, spirituality, everything. Doing the best they can in every aspect of their life. Even if it doesn't look the same as what you've been doing, they've still been doing their best. So look out for that, identify them, because if you look at them and how they approach conflict and how they interact with their siblings, you could probably learn something very valuable about reconnecting and developing your relationship with your sister. So that's the advice that this card has. It's saying that the relationship, there is a strong, powerful relationship that you have, and that relationship just by itself can help you reconnect with your sister. There are aspects of that relationship that can teach you what you need to learn in order to reconnect and develop your relationship with your sister. What is the 14? It is called art. In other decks, it's called Temperance. Future interval is number 7. It's 7 of discs. It is the 7 of discs reversed. So this card is talking about, it's a future interval, so it's what's about to open up. And Seven of Discs reverse talks about overwhelm. Overwhelmed by what needs to be done, the amount of shit that needs to get done, overwhelmed by all the decisions and choices that are in front of you, feeling like you got to figure it all out right now, and that if you don't figure it out, your reality is going to collapse. Every moment that you sit in stagnation, not doing anything, your reality does fall apart. The commitments that you've made, if you are sitting stagnated, those commitments start to fall away little by little. Plans that you've made start to disintegrate. And yeah, that's the kind of energy that the Seven of Discs talks about. It's talking about being so overwhelmed by priorities and decisions that you're not making any of those decisions and not accomplishing any of those priorities. But this is something that's about to open up, so you can change it. It doesn't have to overwhelm you. It doesn't have to stagnate you. There is advice that comes with this card so that you can avoid that stagnation. Discs is all about physical reality, so these priorities and these decisions are to do with your health, are to do with your finances, are to do with your physical security. And the advice that it has is to identify, first of all, what you want. What does your outcome look like in as much detail as you can visualize it? And then, how do you get there? What available opportunities, what available pathways to that outcome do you have in front of you? What can you do that will put one foot in front of the other to get you towards that outcome? And then choosing that road and sticking to it, committing to it, choosing to commit to that direction. Because if you start walking towards your outcome, and then at some point you're like, oh wait, I actually feel like another road might have been a better route, and then turning around and going back to your starting point, counterintuitive. Once you've chosen the direction and you've started working towards your outcome, stick to that method. And then to deal with overwhelm and anxiety, prioritizing. Looking at your outcome and saying, okay, what is most important to that outcome? What activities in the present are most important to that outcome? And then check those things off of your list, your to-do list, in that order of priority, in the order of their importance to the outcome. And realizing that you don't have to figure out all of this shit at once. You don't have to make all of the decisions right now. You can allow the days, once you've visualized your outcome and you have identified the road that you're going to take, you can give it a few days to play out and see if that is the right choice for you before you actually commit. You can find an order of priorities and you can work on it in that order, and if that doesn't work out for you, you can adjust that order of priorities in the next couple of days and weeks as it unfolds for you. As you step forward, you will learn more and understand more about where you're going and how to get there. So don't worry about figuring it all out right now. You can figure it out as you go. And that is your reading concluded. So thank you very much for joining me. I know you've already followed me, and I really appreciate that. If you feel like there was value in this spread for you, I encourage you to send some of that value back in the form of a donation. That would be much appreciated, but it is optional. Thank you. Alright, who is next in the queue? VG. VG on YouTube, are you still here? VG asking for a general career reading, or adjusting that and saying, will I be in the same team in job, yes or no? VG changing the question some more, does my career look good in 3 months time, yes or no? VG spamming the chat saying, does my career look good in 3 months time, yes or no? Are you still here? Do you want a reading? I need to go and adjust that curtain. The sun is now directly on me. Excuse me for a sec, guys. While we wait for VG to confirm if he is still here and would like a reading and which question he wants answered. Still awesome. If I open this, open it a little bit. There. Okay, so VG is not here. Moving on. Duh on YouTube. DUHHH. Duh. Will I be successful in my career? Duh on YouTube. You're up next for a reading. Please let me know if you're still here. Emma Tompkinson says you are a bit mysterious. I also like my solitude. That's interesting observation. I am quite the hermit character. I live in the middle of nowhere on a farm, and I lived in this house alone for the longest time, for years. And then I invited some friends to stay with me because they needed a spot, and then I met the most incredible woman, and now she lives with me. Yeah. Yes, says Sahu. What's wrong with you, Sahu? Constantly rolling your eyes. You know, every time that you post that rolling eyes emoji, I just want to go and post that puking emoji. No, Sahu. Shrabani left the chat long ago. But don't think that I am fooled. I know very well what's going on there. I know very well that you have 2 YouTube accounts or more. Welcome, Suhana. Please have patience. There is a queue, Suhana. If you've asked a question, you are in the queue. If you have not asked a question, you are not in the queue. So next in the queue would be Rashmia on Facebook, if you are still here. Suhana, if you have asked your question, you are in the queue. Thank you for your question. And it will be answered when I get to it, unless the queue closes. You know, this timer, when it reaches 0, free readings are done. So we've got 10 minutes on that clock. Free readings are going to close soon. Rashmia is not here, so I'm going to go through these names a little bit quicker now. Sarah K. didn't ask a question. Moving on. Emma Tompkinson. Manisha Sharma. Manisha Sharma asked a question before Emma, so let me just see where Emma comes in. Okay, Emma, you didn't ask a question as far as I can tell. So, your question, Manisha, was Anil Lather, love me, yes or no? That's your question? I'm afraid I don't speak Hindi. I don't know what... I mean, I'm learning as I'm watching you guys chat. I can make sense of some things, but... Does Anil Lathar love Manisha Sharma? Pendulum is saying no. No. Your answer is no. We are only learning it from you guys. I see the same words get used again and again, and I start to make sense of what it means. I answer the questions in the order that they appear in the chat, so please have patience. Next in the queue is I Rise. What is the energy surrounding braided by B? I Rise, are you still here? I Rise, I Rise. Sorry Emma, it's a little bit late to ask a question now. My queue is literally going to close any second, and there are a lot of questions before yours. So if you want to secure your spot and make sure you get a reading today, that's $2 security tip, and you can also skip the queue with a $5 security tip, but that's not necessary because the queue is about to close. I Rise, last call for I Rise. Okay, moving on. Sahu, any idea who my future husband, when I will meet my future husband? Okay, Sahu, you are still here as far as I can tell, right? Yes, Sahu is here. Cool. I am in the Republic of South Africa, Emma. Thank you for asking. Where are you? Why did you delete your question, Dipanchi? I'm doing Sahu's reading, and this is the last free reading of the day. When that queue reaches 0, which is any second now, all readings there are out of gratuity-based, donation-based, $2 minimum. Australia, says Emma. Amazing. Reveal the time frame and currents of Sahu's future husband. I smell food. Someone's cooking. So your past interval is the Prince of Swords. So this is describing the character of your future husband. This whole spread. Prince of Swords is him overcoming challenges regarding his purpose. End of 2021 and the beginning of 2022 is him recognizing that 2021 taught him a lot of lessons and gave him the tools that he needed to face the challenges that he'd been avoiding, facing them in order to find breakthrough towards his purpose. And his purpose is taking action towards his heart's desire. He's identified a way to get there. He has a desire in his heart, and he's identified a way to reach that desire, and that is his purpose. But there were certain resistances and challenges that came up that got in the way of him and his purpose, so he realized he wasn't quite ready to step out in this purpose, and he put all of those challenges and all those blockages on the shelf and said, hey, once I've learned a bit more, once I have a bit more, I can look at that again. So the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022 has been him facing those challenges that he'd been neglecting before, finding the breakthroughs towards his purpose that he'd been hoping to find. Present interval is the Queen of Swords reversed. So in the present, even though he's made breakthroughs, he still is feeling like his purpose is bigger than what he can carry. He's feeling like he desires more than what is realistically attainable for himself, not realizing that if he can visualize it and visualize the means to get there, he can find creative solutions to any kind of problems that get in the way, that he alone has the authority to manifest or sabotage his purpose. So the tarot so far is saying to me that you already know your future husband, you've met him. It's a matter of identifying him. So listen to this and see among the men that you know, who has been going through this, who has been making breakthroughs regarding their heart's true desire, who has been working through challenges that they couldn't face before, who is feeling hopeless at the moment, who feels like what they want from life is bigger than what they can accomplish. Look around you and see if you can identify these character traits within the people around you. Future interval is the 10 of Cups. So what's about to open up for him is receiving the fullness of his emotional expression. A lot of full, healthy feelings like love and satisfaction and abundance. Full feelings are going to come up for him, and this is because he has been giving support and making investments of energy, emotional support. He's been giving of these things to people in his life, and so he's going to receive those things, and it's going to bring satisfaction and happiness and love and compassion. All of these strong positive feelings are going to manifest and express themselves within him soon. So look out for that. These cards are describing the character of your future husband. The cards are saying that you already know him. You do not necessarily know who he is, but you can observe the spread. Does somebody come to mind as I'm talking about this character? Because that is likely who your future husband is. Don't try and chase him. Once you know who he is, don't chase him. Allow things to happen in their own timing, in the timing of the universe. Because you're not supposed to know these things. You're supposed to wait and find out of your own accord. But now you know these things. Anyway, that is the conclusion of your reading. My queue is closed. So, is there anybody prepared to send a tip to receive a reading? Because otherwise I'm going to end the stream. Welcome, David John. As you can see, the free readings queue just came to an end. It just closed. So here on out, all readings are donation based and gratuity based. So if you are by the means to send a $2 donation minimum, you can still receive a reading today. But let me know if that's your intention, or otherwise I'm actually just going to go ahead and end the stream now. Suhana, my free readings queue is closed, as I have said about 4 times. If you would like a reading, please send a $2 donation minimum, and please let me know that that is your plan. Priyarathor, yes, I'm afraid you are late today. The queue is closed, but I will still give you a reading in exchange for a $2 minimum donation. Amazing. Thank you, Emma. We'll see you again on Wednesday, most likely. Thank you for the follow, and thank you for the like and the shares. All right. I'm heading out. Thank you everybody for joining me today. It has been a very active stream, very active chat. Lots of viewers, really love it. Lots of support. I feel like it was a breakthrough. I had I had like 16 or 17 viewers today at maximum, and it's been like an average of 7 or 8. And that's, yeah, feels like that's quite a breakthrough. It's always been 4 to 10 in the past, and today it suddenly was way higher than that. So much appreciate your viewers and your support. I do this Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at the same time. And yeah, I'm going to say this one last time, Dipanshi. My free readings queue is closed. So if you are prepared to send a $2 donation minimum, I will give you a reading. Otherwise, I'm going to end the stream, and you can catch me again on Wednesday. God bless. Thank you very much. Wealth and prosperity upon all of you. Amen. See you soon.